Hey everyone, it is Tuesday. Hope everyone's having a great week. Had a great start to the week on Monday. If you had a chance to see the eclipse this morning, which is still in progress, but I think it's on the tail end of it. I hope you were able to, if you had that opportunity. I did go out and take a look at it. We didn't get up early enough to see the actual shadow passing over it, but it was already essentially in totality by the time we got there. But it was pretty cool to see, especially looking at it through binoculars. It had almost looked like a computer graphic up in the sky. So it was really, really pretty cool. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, go check out some of the websites, and I'm sure we'll have some live streams of it that you can replay, and some pictures. I'm sure there's some amazing pictures that'll come from it. But so that was going on this morning. Another piece of news before we get started is I have just set up a Mastodon profile. So and I've got that up there. If you are interested in joining Mastodon and want to follow me on there, then please do jump in, and I will probably follow you back, and I'll post things there. I'm probably going to be doing a lot more posting on there. So far it looks pretty cool. Definitely a little bit of a learning curve, but it definitely looks interesting. So but with that said, what is today's topic? Today's topic is whether or not the Lost Mine of Phandalin is the best D&D module for 5th edition. And let's take a look at it and see what we think. So for those that don't know, the Lost Mine of Phandalin was the first adventure released for 5th edition, and it came with the basic set. And is for first level characters and gets you up to 5th level, if I'm not mistaken. Probably said somewhere in here, but yeah, 5th level. So it is introductory and meant to get people started in the game and learn how to do things while providing a good variety of stuff to go through. So let's take a look through it. Sorry, I need to adjust my microphone a little so I can get a little closer here. It's it's not a hardcover, and it actually even has the table of contents on it. The whole book is just regular magazine type paper. So I would have liked if they had it more like, for instance, like if you look at Ravenloft, this is a reprint, but it's got the cardstock for the covers, and then the pages inside. This one does not have a harder cover. So surprisingly, I got this the day it was released in 2014, and it's held up fairly well, even though I've played it several times. So the beginning of it, it kind of goes through some of the stuff about running in a little more detail than you would get in an adventure module that's published now, because this was the first one for 5th edition. So it covered a little bit more about how you would run the game, not too much, but just a little bit of overview. And then gets into running the adventure and some adventure hooks, which is it actually has a pretty good hook in that you right away get to an encounter where you're gonna meet with a dwarf guy who needs you to escort a wagon over to Phandalin, and so it kind of gets you going. And then when you're in that escorting that wagon, you get an ambush with some goblins, and you kind of allows you to flesh out your characters, decide what are you going to do in combat, and it's a very good introduction to kind of get everybody right into it. From there, you then go hunting after these goblins, basically, and that brings you to the real first exploration phase, where you go to this Cragmaw Hideout. And this is it's a cute little dungeon. It doesn't have a whole lot of locations. It's got 8 locations in there, and but it's got a lot of stuff, so you have to explore, and you have some options. You can either come up here, and there's this little small passageway you could try to get into, where essentially the main group is kind of a shortcut, or if you end up following the other paths, it kind of circles around. So there's different ways. It's not a railroad. It's not like you just follow this one path and that's how you have to get through this. You have some options, which is really nice. And of course, the map is beautiful and really great for if you're doing a virtual tabletop. This was really predates the really heavy use of virtual tabletops, but still it's a very nice map to use, and it's relatively small, so it really jumps in. I've used this particular quest on many adventures, even when I'm not playing Lost Mines. This is my go-to for when I have some new players that are brand new to D&D and they're just wanting to get a feel for it. This quest is perfect for that because it's relatively short, but gives everybody an opportunity to see what their characters can do. So that's the Cragmaw Hideout, and then you kind of get into the crux of the adventure. And there's a lot of, there's some story elements here. That tie everything together. So you start out in this town of Phandalin, and it gives you a bunch of the NPCs and what they do, and then it goes through the town and all the different locations in there as you might expect. So again, we got a map of the town, highlights all the different buildings, and so this is a great little sandbox section. You have an opportunity for players to then do some role playing and explore the town and just travel from one place to the next. And you'll notice that in the different places where there's a quest, it actually even highlights what that quest is and what they want you to do. It makes them mention of some factions over here. So it's really set up very nicely and organized. It's easy for the DM to run, and it's an excellent town to explore for the players to get their feet wet with doing some role playing. And then there's some events that happen with these Redbrands and that cause some trouble in town, and that brings you over to another essentially dungeon crawl where you go into this hideout that they have. This one's a little more of a linear path that you would take as opposed to what the Cragmaw Hideout was. But there are some branches, so you come in here and there's not much. You kind of hit a dead end, but then there's a secret door that they would need to find, and then takes you into this area where you do have a few options, but these are also secret doors, so it's more likely that you're going to follow this path. So, but that's okay for the level of character that you would have playing this adventure. That's actually a pretty good path to take, is where you kind of force them down a certain way because they don't necessarily have the experience needed to be able to really just explore on their own. It can get tough to make some decisions when you're not really familiar with your characters and things. So I think that works out well. I like that it calls out the development. So for the DM, you can keep track of, when they've completed this particular room. Here's some things that you should make note of that'll come into play later. And of course, you plan out or make note of the treasure that they're going to get. And you get some really cool monsters. Really good adventure. Then you get into some other stuff. Where the adventure starts getting a little more complicated, and so you've got these NPCs that you've been working with, and there's different quests that you've gotten, and things start coming into play where you have to start making some decisions that will help you essentially reach the conclusion of the adventure by solving the problem that's going on. So you get to this phase here, which is this spider's web. And I'm sorry, I still got some post-it notes from when I ran this last time. So who knows how long ago that was. But you get into then another town here. Sorry, I got my notes. I'll just leave that there for future reference. A little secret of how when I DM, I use these post-it notes and stick them in the book to mark different things. So then you get another town here, and this one is ruins, and so it's exploration of each of the different buildings, and it's almost like a little dungeon crawl, but very sandboxy because there's no set path to take. You can decide where you want to go and which buildings to explore, and there's different things that will happen in each of the buildings. You need to make note that the scale of the maps are sometimes different. So that Cragmaw Hideout, each square was 5 feet. This one, it makes it look like those are pretty small rooms. So, but each square is actually 10 feet on this one. So these buildings are bigger than it seems at first glance. And then you go through and explore there, and there's I'm not going to go into too much detail on the plot line of the adventure, but you basically are running across additional characters, and you realize there's something big going on, and you start having to use your exploration, your role-playing skills to start getting a little further into the mix of figuring out what's going on with people that are following this dragon and what their big plans are. And that takes you eventually to the Cragmaw Castle, another essential dungeon that you would explore. This one you do have just 5 foot square, so it's really tight quarters in this one. That's one of my problems I have with this map as far as usability, is because it is very cramped. These, some of these rooms, I mean, you look at area 3, there's really only like maybe 3 squares that a character could be in, so it's a really tiny space. If you were, there's not much that would happen in that room, but you're really limited of making something happen because there's no room. I mean, and even some of these other ones, like even number 4, there's only a few squares, so if there was some sort of combat that you wanted to erupt in one of these places, you couldn't have a party of 4 or 5 with any sort of opponents because there's just simply no room. So, but this one is really about exploration, but there are some goblins and things that you don't have to necessarily fight. You can talk to them and they will, you can try to negotiate your way through it. So another really good location. And then you get to the Wave Echo Cave, and this is where it all comes together. This is the big finale of it, and this is a pretty good dungeon. Every square is 10 feet in this one, so you can see just the scale of it. And you can tell from where they're coming in, and it starts out that they which way they're going to go. There's a couple hidden passageways, and so there's any number of different directions that they could take, and you get some really good descriptions of what it sounds like, what the atmosphere is like inside this location. And there's just a lot going on here. We got 20 different locations in here to go through, and depending on which path they take, they're going to have a different experience each time. They may go down one path and hit some kind of obstacle and decide to go down another path. So it's a really good location, very, very detailed. And you can see then it goes through the descriptions of all those locations. And there's lots of really good information here to play out, and you really get introduced to a ton of different monsters. That it's not just goblins, it's not just a dragon. It's you get all kinds of, you're really into that monster manual, seeing a lot of the different monsters. So very, very nice location. And at the end you have the appendices where it talks about some of the magic items. Now remember, this came with a basic set, so this was before the player's handbook and the dungeon master's guide were released. So this was, at the time this came out, this was all there was no other books to reference anything. So all the things that you need are actually in this book. It has the information for every magic item that's you're going to talk about is in this book and described. And then it has the information for each of the monsters that you're going to have. So everything that you need is inside this book to run it. It's self-contained, which is nice. And that's that. So it's a really good adventure. So, how long is it? 63 pages really. And I think it's just really well done as the first adventure for 5th edition. It was a great introduction. It came out at the same time or right before Hoard of the Dragon Queen was released, which didn't get very good reviews. I think it's perfectly fine. I think, as with every adventure module, it's what you make of it. Some of them are better out of the box than others, but they're all just guidelines for you to use to make a campaign. This one, though, even right out of the box, is just really good. It has, for an introductory campaign for new players, it covers all the things that you need. It has lots of traps and puzzles and exploration and combat, and you see a lot of different monsters. There's opportunities for all the different types of characters to have a role to play in it. So it really plays very well. I like that it's one of these 60-page adventures, so it covers levels 1 through 5. I wish that 5th edition had more of these. I know that they're more about publishing the larger adventure modules that are 250 pages or so, like Curse of Strahd or Storm King's Thunder. I wish that there were more official modules like this. Pathfinder does it, where they release these regular modules that are shorter. To me, they're easier for the DM to prepare. They allow you to have that campaign feel where there's something ongoing without feeling like you've got to read through this big, huge adventure before you can even get started. So I think it works very well. There's a lot that goes into this one that is really nice. So let me flip back over to my other screen here. So So yeah, so that is Lost Mine of Phandelver. Again, it was the first module that was released for 5th edition. It came with the basic set, and and at the time it was the only thing out there. There was no player's handbook, no dungeon master's guide, no monster manual. It was just the basic rules and this adventure. And so it really was to get you started. And if you are just getting started in D&D, then it is a great adventure to run. I used it many times in running my first adventure for different players. So is it the best 5th edition adventure module? Maybe. It's probably the best answer I can give. There's a couple other good ones. Everyone knows how crazy I am about Storm King's Thunder. I also feel that Icewind Dale is pretty good. Those are larger campaigns, and they're good for different reasons. As a pure adventure, I think it very well might be the best one, because it covers 5 levels of a campaign. It's great for introductory people. It's easy for the DM to run. Very little preparation is needed. It has all the things that you need. So I think if it's not the best, it is among the very best of the 5th edition adventure modules. But what do you think? That's really the question. If you've played it, if you've run it, let me know in the comments what you think. Is Lost Mine of Phandelver the best 5th edition adventure module? If not, let me know which one you think is the best one, and I'll take a look at that one. If I haven't already covered it, I'll take a look at it and maybe do a comparison at some point. So, but let me know in the comments what you think. And that's that. I'll be very interested to hear what you think. If you like these videos, please please click like if you like this video, and subscribe if you like all my videos and want to see more of them. That would help me to know that people are enjoying these, and I will keep going with it. And of course, let me know in the comments any thoughts that you have. Check me out on my new Mastodon profile. You can follow me there, and I will post things regularly. All my other links are down in the description if you're interested. I check back regularly. I do these every single day. I release another one of these. I record them live right here on YouTube, and then they're available for replay later in the day. So I hope everybody has a great day. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I'll figure it out at some point today. But until then, take care.